Oh, that's not very ladylike.
Get away from
We
me.
don't need your
Get the fuck
consent.
away from
We're in
me.
a public
Yes,
place.
you do.
Doesn't it seem sort of perversely ironic to me that this is an illegal trespass, and the people who are committing the illegal trespassing are acting as though they are the landowners?
I think it's really interesting that you're coming on to university property, recording students with your personal camera.
Well, isn't that a good thing for a free press?
Well, we don't know what you're going to do with it. We don't know how you're going to spin it. We don't know how you're going to tell the story, right?
Still think Canada doesn't exist?
I do. And that's a hill that I will die on.
So wow. Yeah, so you don't like Canada? Eh?
Nope. F***ing hate it.
You hate Canada?
Why are you here then, ma'am? David Menzies for Rebel News here at the University of Toronto, and what can I tell you, folks? It's the same old new normal. That is the festering tent city that is Little Gaza, or whatever they're calling it these days, remains, and it appears to be growing. The question arises, what exactly are we supposed to call this encampment? And I say that, folks, because the encampment is less than 2 weeks old, and it has had 3 rebrandings. No, I'm not making this up. When it first opened shop, it was called Little Gaza. And then the occupants here rebranded the lawns of King's College Circle as Palestine Martyrs Square. Now, the first thing we noticed about how they spelt that was that it was apostrophe S, singular, as opposed to S apostrophe, plural. So basically they're implying there's one martyr in Palestine, not several. And if you can imagine, just the other day, it was rebranded yet again, the People's Circle for Palestine. I don't like that people part. Whenever I see people as part of a formal name in a nation, it's usually a commie nation. In any event, at a staff meeting, we kicked the can around thinking of what other potential names the squatters might adopt here. How about Hobos for Hamas? And then we have Hitler Youth Movement, the Next Generation. And how does No Dogs, No Jews Circle grab you? And finally, Aficionados for Auschwitz. So maybe we can do some polling. And so let's wander around. We're not allowed inside. We were told previously the media liaison officer. Yeah, can you imagine? Illegal squatters have their own media liaison officer. But we were told politely that it's no dice to get inside. So maybe we can talk to some people outside the encampment and see what their choice is for a new rebranding of what was once known as Little Gaza.
Oh, famous now.
Yeah, why you're giving me the finger now? That's not very ladylike. You're a lady. I didn't want to misgender you or anything. Aren't you? You're the one that said to shove my questions or my statements up my white ass. Yeah, you admit to that. What did race have to do with anything? I can tell you're a black lady. I would never mention your skin tone. So why did you find that it was relevant to mention my skin color? And I believe, are you clinging to the narrative that you're Afro-Indigenous? You're not that chatty anymore. Folks, if you're wondering who this is, we go back to last week. She was a lot more vocal then. Check it out. So why are you there?
Because we are Indigenous women.
Do you have your card?
Who are you to ask anybody for a card? Take your opinions and shove it up your white ass.
Anyways. It's really bad?
I said this is really sad on your part, sir.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm just asking your opinion. Anyways, we're doing a survey. You know, this encampment has been rebranded 3 times. It began as Little Gaza, then Palestine Martyr Circle, and now it's the People's Circle for Palestine. We're thinking maybe what potential names it might adopt in the near future. How about Hobos for Hamas?
What else you got?
Okay. Hitler Youth Movement, the Next Generation.
What else you got? What's next?
Boy, you're very picky. No Dogs, No Jews Circle.
Funny because there's lots of Jews in there. That's very funny that you mentioned that, because there's a lot of Jewish people in the encampment.
You know, I'll have to take your word for it. They won't let us in.
But have you taken a look at the Occupy U of T Instagram page?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, yeah. They actually
looking at your.
they hosted Shabbat
information a
here
little
a couple
Okay.
days ago. Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, yeah, take a look at it if you're interested. And
It's very odd, though. I mean,
your viewers, too.
Jews joining an encampment where they're chanting genocide for the Jewish people, isn't that kind of like chickens for Colonel Saunders?
I've never.
How do you
heard anything
how
like
do you
that.
figure chanting what?
Well, you know very well what I was speaking of. But sorry, ma'am, I didn't hear what you had to say.
No.
She can't talk.
No, I want to ask. I want to know.
Okay, then. Well, from the river to the sea, Intifada, go back to Europe.
Okay. And so that means genocide to the Jews. Is that what you're saying?
It certainly does, yes.
Okay. Well, I think that also you should look into the origins of those chants and where they come from, because there's a basis in which they stem from.
Well, I've done my homework on that, so we'll have to agree to disagree. Finally, aficionados for Auschwitz.
Well, sorry, what did you find?
Aficionados for Auschwitz.
No, but what did you find in your homework?
Okay, so the river would be the Jordan River, the sea would be the Mediterranean Sea, and everything in between is Israel, so it's about eradicating Israel.
So I think also you should know who started those chants and why they've been adopted. Yeah, so I mean, I would encourage you to look into it a little bit more, and maybe in the future, hopefully, if we can get you a media liaison, there may be an opportunity for you to attend some of the lectures that are taking place in.
Oh, I can't wait. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll leave now. I'll remove my white ass from view. Oh, you're welcome. Can you pick one of our four that you would like?
No, thank you.
They're all bad.
Yeah.
Horrible.
They're all horrible. What do you call it, ma'am? What do you call the encampment? It's had three
called
names.
The People's Circle for Palestine.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of commie to me. The People's Circle.
Have you spoken to any commies? I don't know.
Oh yeah, they had a booth set up here last week.
They set that booth up on their own accord. They weren't a part of us. They did that on their own.
Well, we see all kinds of subgroups. We see indigenous people. We see anti-oil people. It seems like a whole lot of people are along for the ride. Have I got that wrong?
There's all kinds of ethnicities and nationalities who are coming out to show solidarity, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, ladies, thank you for your time. You have a nice day.
Well, not. Do you still think Canada doesn't exist?
I do, and that's a hill that I will die on.
So
Wow.
Yeah. So you don't like Canada? Eh?
Nope, f***ing hate it.
You hate Canada.
Why are you here then, ma'am?
Because unfortunately, it was colonized by peoples who came here with nothing, came here with everything except for land, but claim it as theirs. How does that really make sense?
Okay, then, but you could fly tomorrow to Mexico, cross the southern border unmolested, and you're in a different country, easy peasy.
Hold on, what was that comment unmolested for? Can you adapt onto that? What was that? Where did that what was that?
That you're not going to be stopped by border guards. You know, there's millions of illegal migrants that have gone into America.
You could have used different terms than unmolested, sir. That's a bit insensitive, if you know what
I'm
that's.
sorry, I didn't mean to trigger you.
Yeah, that's kind of just insensitive.
What would you prefer I used?
Literally, there's a bunch of other terms you could have used. I don't
Give me one.
care, but just not that. Whatever else you want to say, just not that.
Also, yeah, she's just saying the language that you used was not preferable.
Okay, you know.
For a news channel, in my opinion, as you're a news channel, that language for the context of our conversation isn't appropriate.
I'm very sorry to hear that. You know that when I use molested, I didn't mean it in a sexual way.
I do understand that, but if that word just flies out randomly, sometimes some people just interpret it differently.
All right. Well, I'm sorry I triggered you. I wouldn't make a good student on campus these days, would I? I think I'd be suspended or even expelled.
You graduated from journalism at TMU how many years ago now?
TMU? Oh, you mean Ryerson?
Formerly Ryerson. I think you're familiar with the name change, right?
Yeah, back in the 80s when the world was a lot more normal, I'm afraid, but...
Very different, yeah, for sure.
Mason, the big question is this. We know convocation ceremonies are coming up early next month in June. Yeah. The ball is in the administration's court in terms of picking up the phone, calling the police, saying, lay charges, dismantle this encampment, but there seems to be absolutely no political will for the administration to do this. They'll have to act soon because you've got to repair these lawns. Do you think Convocation, like such as back in the days of COVID, is going to be canceled, or is there going to be one day in the not too distant future where the U of T administration is going to grow a spine and ask for law enforcement to come in?
Doubtful that they'll grow a spine. Some of the schools in the States have been canceling Convocation or minimizing the graduation ceremonies. It's disappointing. I've watched friends graduate at Convocation Hall, and it's they've worked really hard for some of these degrees. Some of these programs are incredibly hard. A lot of arduous research and lab work, and to have this sort of be the, you're going to look back 20 years, 10 years, and you're like, your graduation was mired in, you know, more activism.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all for freedom of speech, but, you know, the police came and cracked our heads when we were at Queen's Park in Bloor. They shut us down at 7:30. We couldn't be there for one night, but they're going to be camping here for...
What was that about?
Well, it's the vaccine mandates and COVID.
Oh, right. Okay, then.
So there was that, right? That was...
I didn't know if it was the vaccine mandates or you were at an illicit barbecue restaurant.
No, I might have been out there. But, you know, they had the 311 garbage trucks block the street. They had cops in riot gear come and push us out. And it was like, okay, we were just... That was a peaceful protest. That was just music. That was just people standing. They wouldn't even let us stay on the street till 7:30. They're going to be camped out here for how long?
Well, folks, I'm with Ben. He is a student here at the University of Toronto. And Ben, right off the bat, what do you make of this festering eyesore behind us?
So I'm a Jewish student here at the University of Toronto, and when going to work every day, I have to walk through this area, and I see a lot of the signage and the anti-Semitism that's displayed in the signage. Specifically, there's calls for violence when you look at the use of the term intifada, and you look at the posters that call for a free Palestine from the river to the sea.
Yes.
I don't particularly mind the idea of free Palestine in general, but I think when you stray into using that terminology, from the river to the sea, it's a very specific call for violence and destruction of Jews in Israel from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. Exactly. And I think that is not protected speech in Canada, and therefore, you know, at least those slogans should be taken down, and some serious words had with the organisers.
Oh, that's not very ladylike. Hey, excuse me. Excuse me.
Get away from me.
We don't need your
Get the fuck away
consent.
from
We're in a
me.
public
Yes,
place.
you do.
We're in a public place.
Fuck away from me.
Hey, stop it.
I do not consent to any of this. I don't consent to any of this.
We don't need your consent. Hey, don't touch the camera. Oh, hi, ma'am. Are we allowed in, or? Hi there.
And if they're asking you not to film them.
Yeah, but we're in a public place, ma'am.
Why are they giving us a finger?
Yeah, and they're, well, more to the point, they're illegally occupying private property.
So they're indigenous, and this is actually their land. And if somebody's feeling uncomfortable, I think just
It's their land?
on a human-to-human level. If somebody's feeling uncomfortable, let's not film them. I don't want to be interviewed. I'm just saying, like, let's be human beings to each other.
You know, I feel uncomfortable that private property is being squatted upon.
Indigenous land, and they're indigenous.
Oh,
We're asking you not
are you indigenous?
David, you're on university property right now, right? Like,
Yeah.
You know.
But I'm not sleeping overnight here, ma'am.
These are students, right?
Okay, then.
Yeah.
But wait a minute, ma'am, are you indigenous?
Listen.
Is this lady indigenous?
Listen, David.
Okay, because if she's not, why is she here?
I was gonna try to find you immediately.
I appreciate
but
that.
Unfortunately, they're all occupied right now. But I did.
Oh, what a word to use.
But I brought you this. This is
Thank
one
you.
of the handouts that we give out to
Okay,
everybody
then.
who does come in.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we don't have anybody who can interview with you today.
Okay.
But maybe come back another day in the future. I saw that you did speak with the admin here, but obviously, you know, tensions are high now because, you know, people are tired and
Sure.
people are exhausted. So
Well, ma'am, first of all, I want to thank you for being so civil. I mean that.
yeah.
Secondly,
I mean,
even
you
if
and I
there's
have-
no one...
You and I have interacted many times
Oh,
before. So
okay
yeah.
then. No, I appreciate your civility. I'm just wondering, even if no one's available, can we go onto the lawns and just walk around, take a look, talk to people who want to talk to us?
So normally we would have to have a media liaison who
Okay.
would come and speak with you and, take you around and that. But unfortunately, they're not available right now especially because the admin just came in, so they're all occupied right now. So
Well, we'll be here for a while if they come by.
yeah, if anybody does become available, I'll direct them towards you and we'll figure it out from there. Okay.
One last question. Doesn't it seem sort of perversely ironic to me that this is an illegal trespass and the people who are committing the illegal trespassing are acting as though they are the landowners?
I think it's really interesting that you're coming on to university property, recording students with your personal camera.
Well, isn't that a good thing for a free press?
Well, we don't know what you're going to do with it. We don't know how you're going to spin it. We don't know how you're going to tell the story, right? And so I think it's also, this is between the students and the administration, and I don't know why you have this in my face right now.
Okay, I'll stand back. I don't mean to upset you. All right.
But it does feel a little, it's getting my heart racing, so I'm going to go sit down. But,
okay, then.
But I appreciate what you guys are doing and coming out and trying to tell the story. And, you're always welcome to come back, and you're always welcome to take a look at all the beautiful artwork that's been put up around the edges and things
I guess
that.
beauty really is in the eye of the beholder.
Well, I mean, it depends. Yeah, it's subjective, right? But I mean, look at that hummingbird over there. That's gorgeous. And look at that
is pretty good.
Yeah, there's some good stuff out here. So if
I
you're
call them as I see them, folks.
Yeah.
Well,
You
listen,
know.
Thank you for trying anyways. I appreciate that.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you.
And you take care.
People, we came up with some new rebranding names. How about we throw a few by you, what you say? Hobos for Hamas.
Like 5 out of 10.
Okay, then. Hitler Youth Movement, the next generation.
They got a bunch of hammer and sickles, so I don't know. We'd have to work on that, but it's getting there. 6 out of 10.
Okay. Ben, you are a student here. When you look out beyond this this iron fencing, are you able to tell who's who in the zoo? I mean, how many of these campers here are actual bona fide U of T students?
It's impossible to tell. I think there will be a significant proportion that are, but I think there are a significant proportion of people who have been brought from elsewhere.
Yeah. Okay, then, Ben, what would you like to see the U of T administration do to address this issue?
I think they need to be tough when it comes to enforcing free speech laws, the free speech laws that we have here in Canada. Whether you agree with them in principle, as I say, you said you're a free speech absolutist, and I have a sympathy for that position. I think we're then dealing with a question that this is the law of the land, and when you need to, when you have the law of the land, you need to enforce it. So I think, especially when it comes to a lot of the signage, where there is violence expressed, where there are anti-Semitic sentiments expressed, I think like that is the entry into shutting this sort of thing down. In general,
you know what, folks? I wouldn't be surprised if a bunch of people behind this iron fence aren't even Canadian citizens. And if that is the case, if you're going to be a guest in our country and call for genocide, I'm sorry, you just crossed the line. Time to pack your bags and get the hell back to wherever you came from. If you feel like we do, please go to deporthamas.com. That's deporthamas.com. Add your name to the petition, and if you're able to, kindly make a donation.